Hello, and thank you for joining us on Hello Mayor. I'm City of Las Vegas Mayor Carolyn Goodman. And as we head into another school year, we thought we'd talk about some programs and initiatives that the school is spearheading this year to enhance education of our city's youth. And so stay with us for this program, please. And most especially, I want to reintroduce any of you who don't know her, our fabulous Director of Youth Development and Social Innovation, Dr. Tammy Malich.
Thank you, Mayor. It's my pleasure to be here with you today.
Well, what I learned, and I didn't know from the beginning, you're a native.
Yes, ma'am. I was born and raised here.
And so your parents came here, or your grandparents?
My parents came here with their parents as school-aged children. My mother was in high school. My dad was in junior high school when they moved to our fabulous city. And my parents grew up here and started their family here, and I've been here my whole life.
You went through, so education's very important to you, obviously.
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
And I know we're connected because of some fabulous educators that have been in town. I know one of them actually taught you, I think.
Yes, ma'am.
At which school? Was that Lewis Rowe?
That was Lucy Rowe. I was a row runner.
So, and then which high school?
Valley High School, class of 81.
And already thinking about going into education or what?
Yes. Even when I was little, I wanted to be a teacher. People said to me, "You don't want to do that." I said, "I really think I do want to do that." And it never left my heart. I did get my undergrad degree in business with a minor in econ and finance, because I thought, what if I'm not good at teaching? And I feel like the very best should be teaching our future. So I got that. Then I got my education credential on top of that. Went on and got my master's in curriculum because turns out I was good at it and I loved doing it. I had a passion for it. And then I got my doctorate in educational leadership.
And your pathway, you started teaching in the Clark County School District or elsewhere?
Yes, ma'am. I started teaching in the Clark County School District, never left Vegas from
what
birth.
grade level? Elementary?
I started in elementary, started in 3rd grade,
Okay.
and then went to 4th and 5th. I kept moving up, going,
With the
older
children.
kids are a little bit more fun. Then I went into middle school. 6th grade, I think, was my favorite grade to teach. And then became an administrator. The district was growing at a rapid rate. We were opening 10 to 12 new schools a year.
Wow.
It was crazy. And so I went into administration and served as a dean of students at the middle school level, and then an assistant principal and principal at high school.
So, folks, is it any wonder that this woman is taking care of education here in the city, we hope, which will grow, but certainly qualified, having been there, studied it, understanding behavioral development, because little children need to learn it in a different way than middle and upper school children. And so this is very significant. And of course, to me as well, I'm so excited you're part of this, and already over the past year, now into your 4th year.
Yes, ma'am. And you know, Mayor, you brought up a good point, the behavioral health aspect. Prior to my retirement from the Clark County School District after 30 years, just before I came over to the city, I served as an assistant superintendent over alternative education, which meant I oversaw the schools in our adult correctional facilities, our youth facilities, both detention centers, adult and youth, child haven. So all of the individuals, youth and adults, that were on a trajectory showing behavior, mental health conditions, I served as the oversight for those schools and principals. And I saw what happens if we don't do it right and we don't do it well. We know that a high school diploma and college degree are the #1 way out of the correctional facility. And so if we invest earlier, it's much more cost effective and much more effective to these young people. I saw kids growing up in correctional facilities.
Well, my master's was actually continuing on in counseling, and my master's paper was on recidivism in the juvenile justice system. So with data behind it and understanding, but we all know, and we can think back to our youth and how important it is to parents when you're looking at the elementary, the beginning years of where you're going to have your child begin learning. It is so critical because that's where a child first begins as a little seedling with no experience, relatively no education unless their parents have done a phenomenal job, begin to develop a self-identity. And it is critical that they learn basic skills. That I remember Bill Clinton, when he was in his second term, he said, "I'd like to see every child reading by 4th grade." And I remember that and thinking, goodness gracious, what about birth up to 4th grade? What a waste not having, children are just these little sponges and they want to learn. But if you're treated with dignity, which means a great teacher, and make learning exciting, a great teacher, then children will just grow. And education is the key to equal opportunity and to success and feeling good about yourself. So I know we've been on the right path together here. The city, before you came on board, and when my husband was mayor, and then I became mayor in 2011, the only thing the city and the municipalities were permitted to do was work in before and after school programs. We participate in which before and after, before we get into the schools that we're doing.
We cover 80 schools, all of our City of Las Vegas elementary schools with before and after school care, and 7 of those we have a 21st Century grant where we pay CCSD teachers to tutor after school during our after school program. In the other schools though, the other 73, we still do an extended academic day.
And is this free to the parent?
It is free in some of our schools. There is a nominal charge in other schools.
And do they get meals?
They get a snack, healthy snack, in the after-school program.
And there is good supervision.
Yes,
but I remember when before when Oscar and I were looking at should we move to Las Vegas, I know it's hard to believe, but in 1964, doing research the old way, the Clark County School District was #2 in the country, behind New Trier Township program in Illinois. And so while we had no children, we thought, well, if it's that good, we're coming. Because anybody who's going to do business here, anything, they're going to always look to education for their employees' children or their own children. And so it is critical to have that. And as we went through, and then ultimately by 1974, when I really got into the educational realm, we had 4 children. And going out to look at the schools to make a proper choice and realizing that education for every child, no matter where you live, has to be strong, has to have a great teacher. And by mid-70s, it was clear this community in Southern Nevada was going to be bilingual.
Yes, ma'am.
And I remember going to the superintendent of schools and saying, we need immersion Spanish, because certainly one who can speak both languages will be more gainfully employed than one who does not. Yes. And he said, that comes from the legislature. So knowing where we are and knowing how critically we believe in the fact that early education is important, the city began to have a dialogue. What can we do as far as integrating into kindergarten? And we're told at that time by the district, no, hands off. So we decided to go into the preschools. Yes. And we have
a partnership with a Head Start, an early Head Start provider. We have 5 brick and mortar preschools, some that start at birth. All of them offer 3 through 5-year-old preschool education, high quality, based on Nevada state standards. So they all teach the Nevada Ready curriculum to put kids in a position where they start kindergarten at or above grade level. In
So
addition,
could you
though,
repeat that?
that's not all. Let me finish.
Okay.
We also have 4 mobile preschool. So the city has invested in Strong Start Go under your leadership, which was a mobile preschool where we bring preschool to the community and remove the barrier of transportation. With those programs, we had one. As I recall, when I came on board, you requested a fleet.
Yes, small though it might be.
Trying to understand a fleet, we added a second bus, my second year here. That program won the Nevada Taxpayer Award as the #1 most efficient, effective award by the Nevada Taxpayer Association, because it's not a brick and mortar building. If the community ages out, we move the preschool. Through ARPA funding, the City of Las Vegas has leveraged dollars to provide 2 additional programs. They're under development right now, but we're in the process of standing those preschool programs up in brick and mortar locations as we wait for those buses.
And we have had some, besides the American Recovery Act funding, we've also had private funding from some of the corporations, which you cannot imagine the excitement of having private partnerships help us drive this. But what's happened now, because of this success, it was very critical, and I think anybody who studies history of our community will know the more challenged and newer, not residential, but newcomers to our community for the jobs that through the hospitality or something else generally congregate in areas that are very dense in population, tend to have a more economic challenge. So we developed the program with these modular buildings moving into the more challenged, and as you said. So those only go through just the preschool years, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you have to have, your child has to be 3?
3 and potty trained. We serve them from ages 3 through 5. Then we do a little moving up ceremony. And in the past, up until 2022, we just sent them then on to the Clark County School District for their kindergarten education and kissed them on the forehead and wished them well.
Oh, that's so beautiful. That's so cute.
As a result of COVID, however, as you recall, the city said we are responsible for a lot of critical and essential employees, our medical professionals, our law enforcement, our correctional professionals. When the governor made the decision to move schools to online learning, we had a lot of parents that still needed an option, so the city stood up with the help of the library districts, Strong Start Academy, where we went into libraries and community centers and we stood up full day programs and helped support distance learning. We had 5-year-olds that hadn't been to school yet, and they were supposed to navigate online learning while their parents may be working from home, their parents may have language barriers, their parents may still have to go to work. And so the city stood that up under your leadership, under our former city manager, and it made such an impact. But what we also saw was families then started reaching out and saying, we love what you're doing in preschool. This program was so beneficial because it was a small setting. My child got one-on-one connections with adults. Would the city consider doing something more?
Well, and I can assure you, 26 years of my life before being mayor was spent almost 24 hours a day doing what we now in the city have begun to do. As the state moved into diversifying our educational programming and allowing charter school development as an alternative choice to parents. It was very clear that we needed at the city to be able to participate, and that was a really challenging climb. And Dr. Malich here really organized us so well to get us in a position. I'll let you, could you talk about it? Who's in charge of the school? I mean, as a board, who is making sure we stay on task? And who's watching the money? What's the mission of this school, and how are we developing it?
Sure. So in
And
2021,
what is it? Okay.
we started this process of putting together a charter school application with a very specific focus. Our focus was on a bilingual, biliterate educational model. Small school, small classes, multi-generational approach with an extended school day and extended school year.
And keeping in mind, I just want to make sure everyone understands, this community is almost 50% in southern Nevada Spanish speaking. And while there are many, obviously, who are very gifted in all languages and probably even more than just two, there is a physical location where there's a concentration of families that don't speak English. And in order to give their children an opportunity to participate, it's all, again, through education. And so the area where we were concentrating was trying to find, which is a part of the downtown, happens to be on the east side, but actually west side too, a location. And we did find.
Yes. So you are allowed to apply for a charter application under two conditions, either an innovative, outstanding program where you can put it in any area or apply to put it in any area, or you're filling an academic need in an area that has mainly underperforming schools. So we went that approach, even though we were using a unique program model. So we focused on wards 1, 3, and 5, where the majority of the schools in most
Are older.
they're 1 and 2 star schools. So they're
So,
significantly.
but this is old area Las Vegas. It's the historic center from which the whole city grew. 1 being more in the area of UMC, 3 being more west side and a little bit to the north, and then Ward 3 being the, it's 1 and 5, and 3 being the east, more the east side.
Yes, ma'am. And so that was our focus area. We had I think the stars aligned. On January 2022, the Charter Board, SPSCA, the State Public Charter School Authority, approved our application and granted us the ability to move forward.
Based on what?
Based on the application and the merit of the program we
And
laid
approving
out.
your teachers, too.
585 pages of our love and thoughts and sweat poured out into a document. That was January 27th to open in August.
Do you see that?
So
I mean, what
it was
an
a little
under-
bit of a feat, an incredible feat. So then the city team set out with looking for a location. And the right location. We looked at a dozen locations, but we wanted the most perfect location for these babies that we were about to take in under our wings. And so we found a location at 9th and Bridger. It is today the Tony Shea Education Center. At the time, it was known as the Ninth Bridge School. It was purchased by Tony to run a private school. Then COVID hit, and it never really got fully enrolled.
And before that, it was a senior center, and before that, it was a church. So you
Yes.
know the church on North 9th.
Yep, and it's in a historic community. It is not a historic building, but it's in the historic Las Vegas High School community. And so that building became an option for us. We worked with Richard Shea, Tony's father, and the family and the estate. And luckily, we were able to get that building. We
With a
opened
plan.
With a plan, absolutely.
Of what was our mission. I
Our
mean, that I
mission-
want everybody really to understand.
Sure.
This is so critical.
Our mission was to ensure that all students receive the highest quality education in both English and Spanish. It is a free public charter school. We cannot limit enrollment, nor can we disallow enrollment by any person in this valley. However, we only market in wards 1, 3, and 5. Bilingual, biliterate education is a non-negotiable. When parents send their kids to us, they know that's the condition. and we went for the highest quality teachers.
And therein lies the true case in all education. And so before we got into moving this forward, we met with administrative staff, everyone. Where can we find more funding than's being paid out of the district so we can assure ourselves that we're attractive to teachers who are going to work very hard, but enjoy and love working with these wonderful young people, and that we can augment their salaries on a consistent basis.
Sure. We set up a 501c3, so the school is its own nonprofit. It is a public-private partnership. We do partner with them. There is a board that is put in place by city council members, our mayor, myself, our city manager. We put those members in place because the city has a stake in this. It is a city building, and the city also augments funding. And so we have a vested interest in this. But the board are all independent of the city of Las Vegas. They are professionals in the community, heads of department at UNLV. We have human resources from the RTC. We have Nevada Grant Lab at the table. They have outside counsel. They have an outside bookkeeping company. So they function as an independent entity within and under our purview, if you will.
And it's not operated for profit. I mean, we want to make sure we break even on this. It is not run by a religious organization. It owns and operates itself.
Yes,
so
as a free
the Purist as a free public school, which means I know we have 3-year-olds. You have to be 3 and potty trained, of course.
For our preschool. The school is K through 5. We opened kindergarten, first and second last year.
Do we have feeders in, though, from the preschools?
Yes, ma'am.
Not a guarantee.
Not a guarantee, but they get preferential enrollment status for our pre-K, both our Head Start pre-K programs and our Strong Start Go program. So all of our Strong Start programs have preferential status.
And you opened with kindergarten first, second, and then
year.
Hopefully
we rolled up to third this year.
And then fourth, and then fifth.
Yes, ma'am.
How many classrooms?
Yes.
What's the teacher
we
student
have
ratio?
3 classes at each grade level, 20 children per class, teacher at each grade level. All of our teachers, we require them to be licensed. That isn't necessarily a statutory requirement for 100%.
Ours.
It is our requirement. We pay higher salaries based on what their current salary is, whether they're coming to us from a private school or a public school or a school in another state. We prefer TESOL endorsed teachers.
What is
English,
TESOL?
Sure. It is teaching English as a second language, and our staff, we require them to be bilingual. The reason for that is a bilingual educational model. With that, we were able to attract the best staff. I think the other key ingredient was our leader. Our executive director or principal of the school showed success at John S. Park for many years in the Clark County School District, retired from the district, and we were able to bring her on board. She also has experience running the only biliterate school that CCSD stood up at one point. If you're familiar with John S. Park, you know it's a school very low income, a lot of second language families, and so we brought her on board. She attracted strong, high quality teachers. The teachers have a longer school day because the students have a longer school day.
And we expect, when you love what you do, that you are going to want to see the children succeed,
Yes, ma'am.
do more, ready to help them. And my hope is that one day, of course, that we'll be able to offer weekend programming for students and expand that more so. But the whole key is the quality. It's a beautiful building, and we thank the Shea estate and family. But the reality, it's all about your teachers.
Absolutely. Teachers make the difference. The number one way to impact instruction in the classroom is the teacher. The building is beautiful. I echo that. I love the building. The students enjoy coming to school every day. The staff meets them at the gates, meets the families there as they turn their children over to us. They take that very seriously, and they hold that in the highest responsibility, that families are turning their babies over to us and ensuring their care.
What do you expect from the parents, please?
Parent engagement is a must. Our parents are very engaged. The school holds monthly parent engagement. They also hold a variety of activities where parents are included and involved, and the parents enjoy it, and we don't have to twist their arms or beg or plead them to come. They come openly. Whenever I'm at the school and parents are there, they often say, I wish I could enroll in the school and learn a second language. They love the school environment. They love that their kids feel safe and secure, and that they as parents feel welcomed.
Well, and we know how important it is. Every child needs somebody upon whom they can rely that's engaged. Hopefully it's a parent, but sometimes it's a single parent and they're having to work as well as do this, but we really need the parent involved.
I also want to include that the school does offer Safe Key. So parents that work can drop their kids off as early as 7 a.m. and pick them up as late as 6 p.m.
In your building?
In the building.
Wonderful.
So we do offer that. And at the full scale, when we're fully built out from K through 5, we'll have 360 kids. So it's always meant to be a small school model, small enough that the staff knows all of the kids and knows the families. And I have to add one little brag point. After year 1, our kids that came to us at the beginning of the year on grade level or above grade level in math were 9% of the children enrolled. At the end of the year, 81% of our kids were on grade level or above grade level in math. In reading, 26% of our kids came on or above grade level, and at the end of the year, 82% were on or above grade level. That was year 1. New curriculum, new program, biliterate model. 88% of our kindergartners were reading in English and Spanish, year 1.
So, I don't know where this half hour went, but already we're out of time. But this is the model. Everything needs a model. Not all schools have to have the same mission, but whatever the mission is in education, you need the experienced, well-educated, passionate teacher who's qualified in the classroom. And whether or not we could have these classrooms at a size of 30 or more, a great teacher can handle a lot of students, but it is not desirable. And a weak or very poor teacher could be at the Taj Mahal in India, and you'd have to drag your child there. I hope this is the first of many episodes you'll be on Hello Mayor. It starts at home. You can't do it without a parent who really cares and wants that child to succeed and loves. So all I can assure you, and I better put on my glasses because I can never read it, thank you at home for watching, making sure to never miss an episode. Oh, now that's so much better. Just scan the QR code on your screen to subscribe to our newsletter, and we'll see you next time for another episode of Hello Mayor. And God bless Dr. Tammy Malich and the city for finally getting into this area. It's so exciting. God bless you and thank you.
You.